Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Hi, Wajiha. Thank you for setting this up for us. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Tech Life at Odetta. We are waiting for Katharine, and we will start our session at 9. So, yeah, Katharine is here. Hi, Katharine. Hello.
Hi,
How are you doing?
how's it going?
It's going great.
Good.
It's so good to see you again.
You too, you too. Can you hear me
Yeah,
okay?
you're sounding perfect.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
Okay, so how was your day? Were you looking forward to this? I think your day just started.
Yeah, I just started. Yeah, no, I'm excited about this. I have never done Facebook Live before, so this is
To be
exciting.
very honest, this is my first time as well.
Well, you're amazing at being a moderator for all of our events,
Well, I
so
think
I'm sure this will go
it's
well.
your vote of confidence in me that made me do this. I've had terrible experiences on stage. I cannot even tell you how embarrassing it was. I was once singing, yeah, I was
Really?
once singing a song of a very famous singer, Atif Aslam, and I sang it all wrong. I sang it in front of an assembly of students from playgroup to high school, and I was singing it with such confidence I did not even know I was singing it wrong. Yeah, and then the topic of
I think it only matters if you're singing with confidence.
you have no idea how horrible it was. And then the topic of our assembly was that voice is a gift of God. And then after a while a girl comes up and she says voice is a gift of God. Everybody was on their knees and they were laughing at me. And then I realized no, I'm never gonna sing a song again. But yeah, here I am.
No, you're amazing at this. You have such a good voice, and I think it's also you have this energy that make people want to smile. So I think
And
that's
I'd be really happy if I make you smile, during your very tense times at Odetta.
yeah. Well, it hasn't been that tense.
Okay, so welcome here, Catherine. It's like 9 p.m. PKT and PST as well, I think. Yeah,
Yep,
so we
9
should
a.m.
get started. We have a couple of viewers,
Okay.
and we are really happy to have this opportunity to talk to you, Catherine, on a live platform. Especially, there has been a lot of curiosity among the workers, and we really wanted to know you more. How you got to set an amazing platform, especially that empowers women. Involving women and tech. It's a very good combination. We had a lot of questions, and I'm gonna shoot them in a very fun way. So let's start with
Great.
when you were just a student. When you started your education. How was it? What were your dreams back then? When you were just 15 years old, what were you doing? What was going on in your mind? What kind of a student were you?
Okay. Okay. So we're taking me
Yes.
back. So when I was 15, so let's see, I was in high school, kind of the early days of high school. I was a very hardworking student, so I would say that I was really focused on getting good marks. I was very like not very confident. I had been told by teachers that I wasn't good at a lot of things. Which I think happens a lot in schools. But yeah, so I felt like I had to work really hard. I knew that I had actually learning disabilities when I was little, and yeah, so high school was kind of hard, but I had big dreams, and I remember um, really, really loving math. and I had a teacher in when I was 13 or 14 that said I was terrible at math. But then when I went to, I actually, my parents shifted me into a new school because they felt that the school that I was at wasn't very good, and at kind of like supporting me in my and my potential. And then I had this amazing teacher who literally spent 10 minutes with me one day telling me how good I was at math, and it like opened up my whole world. It was like this one person who really believed in me, and I ended up studying math in college, and then like making that part of my master's. So yeah, so that was like me at 15.
So this is me at 25, and you were that person for me. When you chose me for Odetta, I was very, very, very not confident at all. I thought that I would never make it, but when you chose me, and it has enabled me to do all these amazing things. Thank you. So
Oh my God. Well, that's like, I mean, you're just saying the nicest thing. And also, I feel like anyone, and probably so many people go through this, but it's like you have this like crippling self-doubt, and then you just have these moments where you have, it's an environment or it's a person or it's a place that just like helps you believe in yourself. And that's like that. If we could just build a place that's what it does all day long, that's what I hope to build with
to be very
Odetta.
honest, Odetta
So.
has enabled each and every person who's working over here to do that. They just have more confidence in themselves and they believe they can do this, and with the right kind of people
Yeah,
and the positivity and the mentorship, it's really good. So,
it's
so
really good. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you've had a lot of ideas, a lot of, routing from here and there, and, what brought you to Odetta? What brought you to the fact that you want to build something of your own?
Oh, wow. Long and windy road. I mean, I don't really believe that it's like this one moment. I think that we're all kind of products of these iterative steps, and you kind of like, it's like a story that, you're slowly building these chapters. And at least for me, yeah, I always knew that I wanted to build a company, like start something from scratch, kind of like it's like invent something, like as an inventor. But like for me, I really wanted to solve a problem, something that seemed fixable, and also something that I felt like uniquely like bonded to, like that it was like my own experience that, with my perspective, I could help fix. And so I probably didn't I didn't know the idea. It took me a really long time to come up with an idea like a Odetta, to be honest. I had started a company before. So I was a banker. I'll just give you a short background. So I went to school, I studied French and math and economics. I went to a small liberal arts school in Middlebury, Vermont. And I had no idea what I was going to do upon graduation. I just like really didn't have a clear vision. And so I got a job at an investment bank, and just, kind of just like learned from people there, like a lot about what I didn't like in that industry. But I learned a lot and I worked hard, and I kind of understood how business worked. And it was at that time when I realized that I really wanted to start something from scratch. But I certainly didn't feel like I had the know-how or the confidence. I was 25. But again, it was like this, kind of like a couple encounters with individuals who had done it themselves. And I just kind of was inspired to go start this bank it didn't matter where, I just got this idea to start a bank for women. And so I went and did that when I was 25, 26, and I moved to Vietnam and set up the bank. And it was there that I really felt like I was like, I don't know, I was really in flow. I was doing what I was meant to be doing, but it was really hard, and I didn't necessarily know how to build a company. And so I went back to school, and kind of like just did a bunch of internships, and then I had to pay back all my school debt, so I had to get a job. And so I was at this job with actually all these amazing people. It was my last job. I was there for about 5 years, and that gave me the confidence to kind of do it myself, because I saw all these other people and they seemed like, just normal people that had an idea and kicked it off. And so finally I got the idea that was a missing piece, and then started it about a year and a half ago.
So basically, you were good at math, and then you're good at French, and then you're into investment banking. So what led you to data science and tech? And let's focus on that, and then I'll go for the women part later.
Okay, yeah. So data science is not my background at all. I think it's just like what the market is demanding. It's just a really interesting time right now, where there's a shortage of data scientists and also data science techniques. And so it's just a booming in terms of like basically data, the ability to analyze data, to use it to build companies. And so that's like a known thing. And so when I was first starting the company, I moved to Jordan and I was trying to figure out what work category to start in. And that just kept on coming up, like something related to data. And that was a little bit of my background. You know, I did study statistics, et cetera. But tech is really important to me. So my first company was organized. It was a civic organization. It was a nonprofit, and I always felt like it's really hard to scale that. And so and also our model was fundraising, where we had to get all of these people to give us money to do XYZ, and it wasn't matched with our performance. And so with this company, and with my prior experience at a technology firm, I knew it was going to be a technology company, which is just that like you can build a massive business based off of code and tech and really smart people building kind of the future. And then yeah, and I knew it was going to be for profit because basically I wanted people to buy what we're selling. And so that's also why we've taken no money. It's like we're building a customer funded model, which is that like we believe we have something of value and we're going to sell it. We're going to prove to the market that this is, you know, really, really valuable kind of skill set and people and service delivery. And so that, yeah, all of those past experiences just kind of led me into this. And we're still iterating on what we're going to sell. You
Yeah.
know, in a year we may be selling like software development, but we're kind of learning fast and
Yeah,
figuring that out
definitely.
as we go.
We've grown a lot in 1 year. So, so the
Yeah.
most interesting question that I'm just gonna ask, you're the only sister of four
Okay.
guys, four brothers. It must be really,
Yeah.
really hard to find your own place as the only girl in the family. So, so like, what brought you to this tech and women, and how did you overcome all the hardships with the idea that you had, that there's a lot of stigma against women in tech. So and the ratio is already really, really small of women in tech. So what brought you here? What gave you the confidence that this could work for you? I've already
Okay.
asked you this,
Wow.
but I want
Um,
everybody to know.
okay. All right. So like imagine you have twins, but then instead of twins, it's triplets, and then instead of triplets, it's quadruplets, right? So my mother had five kids under the age of two, and we were like this little animal pack. We were called the wolf pack. My last name is Wolf, so we were always known as the wolf pack. And I was the only girl, and so that was my experience. It was like we were in this litter, and I had three little kind of fraternal identical bodies next to me, learning how to eat, breathe, read, think, all at the same time. And I was really sensitive. I think we all were. We were pretty competitive as a
Yes.
pack, but I was also really sensitive to how I was treated differently from them. It was very upsetting to me because I just wanted to be part of my pack, like
Yeah.
we were together. And so and it was an amazing experience. I had like a very amazing, kind of chaotic and very fun and loving childhood. But I was sensitive from like a very young age around gender and what it meant, and I was always trying to decode, whether I was different, whether I was better, like why were people treating me differently, or expecting different things from me, or like there were different roles in the
Yes.
household
Yes.
based on that, and based on culture, and based on. So I think like I've always just been super attuned to it, and kind of like it's just been my lens. And so as I then got into subjects like math and where there weren't as many women, at least in the US, and then certainly tech, and then certainly banking. I mean, it was like I was often kind of like the only one or two women in the room. So that was just so strange to me. And so I was pretty good at like kind of operating within the all male environment. But I just like really wanted to build something for women. Like I've always wanted to. My first company was designed around women. There aren't enough companies that are basically designed by women, kind of for women, like for the general purpose and good. And so yeah, it's just it's how I was born, basically, that gave me this kind of perspective.
So, oh, wait, wait, wait. Okay. So, my next question was like, I've already asked this, I know this, but I want everybody to know. So, what brought you to the Mesa region? What drove you? I've seen your pictures on Instagram. You've been to Pakistan, especially Islamabad, then you've been to Jordan, then you've been to other, Middle Eastern or maybe Pakistani or South Asian countries. What brought you, what gave you the confidence that, we might be the ones who can help you found this company?
Okay, well, it's such an interesting question. I think I was kind of data driven in the selection in the beginning because basically I had the idea that there was this kind of like we could build this on-demand workforce for highly intelligent, educated women to start who weren't working due to a number of constraints, but that you could build a tech platform to allow them to work on their own terms. That was the idea. And then I knew that there were certain regions where this would like really work well and be most impactful. And that was like 15 to 18 different countries, basically in the Mesa region. People don't normally talk about the Mesa region, but we do because, we were talking Middle East and South Asia because that's where you have this like almost like kind of this really, really educated workforce that's not participating, and the numbers are there. So it was like a data-driven decision at first, and then and then the genesis was a friend of mine, Huma, from my Kennedy School class. I told her the idea, and she was like just really instrumental in saying like this would work really well in my country, and I'm from Islamabad, and
Oh,
so she invited me to come to Pakistan. And so while I was at my last job, I bought a ticket and came and visited and interviewed a number of women, many who are here with us at Odetta. Actually, Aruj
yeah.
was one of the first people I interviewed. And and that really convinced me. Actually, that trip really convinced me because I was just like so blown away by the talent. And then I also realized that we could actually have the talent guide us on the product. I didn't know, like I don't pretend to know like how to like what it is that is needed or missing. So, but I realized that like if we hired and recruited all of these people, that the community would help us then build the platform, and that's what we've been doing ever since.
So there's this is one thing that really impressed me about you. I'd be very honest that you have this really good, and you're like very open to ideas. Not many people are open to many ideas. You always keep on asking for suggestions and feedbacks, and you work on them. That's something, like like when we are kids, we're very rigid about what we know, what we already know, right? And then you've become this woman. So how was that journey? Like, how did you become, how did you know that, this is how things can actually work, and not if you just tell them how to do that? Like, from, yeah,
Oh, I kind of see what you mean. I don't know. I just always treat people like the way I want to be treated. That's just, yeah. Is that what you mean?
yeah,
Like I I really dislike certain things. So I people who tell me what to do, I don't do well in that environment. Like I'm a bit of a rebel. I don't like being stuck in a box where someone is like, you are this and this is where you live. That's number two. And then number three, like I think that I like to operate in kind of like a very positive environment. And so that really impacts my ability to do my work each day, or even with my friends, like being around positive people. So yeah, I think like I've had a lot of experiences in different work environments. Many have been good, many have been terrible. And so Odetta is like this kind of we're all building it together,
yeah,
right? But like the premise is around that. It's around this openness, and it's like this kind of almost like decentralized place where we can build something
definitely.
special. I hope, because it's like, I kind of like started it, but I think then there's now this movement of people who are building what they want, which is why we have the monthly gatherings and we have the surveys and we have like basically, hopefully, like not a very hierarchical structure. Like I think like the vision is that, if you kind of come in and have a certain idea or vision, you can kind of then contribute it to the community.
Definitely, yeah.
So that's what I want. And so I just treat people the way that I want to be treated. And I'm sure I'm not always good. Sometimes I get like very emotional because I'm a very passionate person. But yeah, I think that we kind of also have a lot of feedback, and even if it's just emojis, or we get on the phone when things get tense because we're not in the same office.
Yeah.
Uh, but
But yeah, our monthly meetings do break the very like probably the professional tone that we have in our conversations and on text. But it's really inspiring and very easy to work on a virtual remote work model, because it has really empowered us right in our pajamas. I'm in my pajamas right now. Sorry.
in the
Yeah.
pajamas, yeah, yeah, exactly. I think like one thing about that is just we people come in and contribute, and like we may not be doing this as well as we could today, but it's like the vision for this is that as soon as we kind of figure out the client side, like that we have more work than we can handle, which I have no doubt that we'll get there. But we basically, people can have certain skills and certain ideas and make certain suggestions and like kind of build their own career and their own experience, without like too much politics and politicking, and that's the vision. It's hard to build, but I think we'll get there.
You've already like paved the way. We're on a good path, I think. So yeah, I have asked you this because it's really hard to be the leader at times. It's very hard to take the entire pack to lead them, and to move them around, and especially with very different dynamics and very different cultural, probably, there's a precedent. There are very different people, and they're talk differently, they have different ideas on how the work should be done, and so with all that, it might get really stressful. Like there are a lot of submissions coming in. There are a lot of deliverables that you have to then make sure that they're on time, and then the client satisfaction, and then the employee satisfaction, and then the team lead should be happy, the QC should be happy, the workers should be happy, and then sometimes you're not happy, and you think, is this really what you wanted to do? So what do you do at those times?
Yeah. uh, yeah, we have that. I mean, it's I don't know. I think like early on I realized that I couldn't take it all so like kind of like personally. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to survive. Like if I thought about, let's say we have 5,000 people waiting for work, and all of a sudden we have no work, and like that's really negatively impacted all these people. Like I can't think like that, because you then wouldn't ever build this company. So what I do is, when I get really stressed, is one, I try not to like share my stress with other people too much, and I journal, actually. That's like one of the like most calming things that I do. So I write about life and the things that are stressful, and kind of like the deep dark place that I've arrived to. And then normally I realize that when I go back into my journals, like let's say every 7 days, there's like a kind of like a deep anxiety. But then there's like all these other days where everything's so light and it's so happy, and we're doing all these amazing, amazing things. And I just kind of see this really bright future. So I go back and read those journals. And that really helps. I think it's just, yeah, when you're really kind of passionate, and it's like, I don't know, you have to kind of like, I have to get perspective. And so I go back to the promise of Odetta. Why are we building this? That's like the only thing that matters, is that it's not like there's like the agenda of Odetta is to build a platform so people can achieve their potential. That's like what we want to build, and we want to scale so that this can impact millions of people. But like we're going to get there slowly and sustainably, and we're not going to have anyone hijack that
Yeah.
mission. Like that's like what we're going to do. So yeah, so I journal, and then I exercise, and then I try to spend time around people who are very positive, who believe in me.
So have you ever thought about naming that book Odetta, the emotional roller coaster?
It is, well, I don't know if it's the emotional roller coaster for everyone, but hopefully it's
No, no,
not. Hopefully it's
I
like a
meant your
source of
journal. Your
stability.
journal. Odetta is a very positive place, I assure you.
Oh, yeah. Well, my journal is an emotional roller coaster. I mean, it always has been, like pre-Odetta too. It's like, I think I'm a very passionate person, so I like really, really, really care. And I think when you have a lot of really passionate people in one room, it's like, there are extreme highs and extreme lows, and
True.
so like you're always just trying to become centered. But it's like that's part of like what is, yeah, what is great is like you kind of like you know that in your when you're in this place where it seems like a little bit dim, that there's like you know that you're going to see like the great light soon. And that's in part like I don't think I do much better in an environment where there's a potential for this roller coaster where you can take a big risk and like build something like really really amazing. And so but at the same time, yeah, you can kind of like you can like lose everything. Like you can, I mean, that's like that's what a company is, right? You
Yeah.
can it's definitely not, it's not sure. There's no
There are a lot of
certitude,
risks
but
and all of those coming in and out.
yeah, but totally. But you can't really think about that because it's like if I just have a baseline. Yeah, I go back. I can't imagine building a company without like some sort of like mission that I like strongly believed in. Like I just like really want Odetta to live in this world. And so if I didn't have that, I don't know. I'm not sure how you get through I don't know how you get through kind of like some of the harder times because you would just go get a job,
But you
right?
really hate that 9 to 5 kind of thing.
I can do it around amazing people. I've definitely done it before. And like when you're working on a hard problem with all these amazing people, yeah, definitely I can do that. I really like designing my own schedule.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's certain times of the day that I'm like super productive. And I also don't like being told what to do. So bosses or people I've reported into have always kind of like known that about me. So this is a good role where I could just surround myself with really smart people and then we can all build this thing together.
So, did you like on a lighter note, did you think that you would have so many moms in the company?
So
Yeah,
many
so many moms
moms.
working at home with lots of babies
Yeah.
running around them on the laptop.
Totally. This is like, that's like the idea, right? I mean, it's like one, okay, so like there's so many great, these are like superhero women. I mean, it's just so crazy. Like, so I'm not a mom yet. I hope to be a mom one day. I've got a late start, but like, yeah, moms are amazing. It's like especially they're often taking care of like their parents and their husband's parents and then their kids and then they're data scientists and they're like coding Python like in their pajamas at night. I mean, it's like these are like incredible
Yeah.
superheroes who are like you have no time for like bullshit meetings. That's we're all set up for these
Yeah.
people. Like they're the most productive people in the world. So yeah, like we're benefiting from all these incredible moms, and we're going to be powered by all these moms. And that, yes, this is that. Because like I don't, you know, like it's like why on earth would again? There's no value judgment on work, but it's like this is about like achieving your potential. So if you have an interest in like kite surfing or singing or whatnot, it's like how do we're not a platform for kite surfing, but like how do we allow people to continue what they're interested in, get paid for it, and then like have it be part of their lives? Like that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
For people, especially like designed around, we targeted, you know, very especially like a population of people where it's like, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
moms who many aren't working, and many would work if they could. And also, I think it's just lonely to be a freelancer,
It is.
isn't it? Like you're kind of like in this solo, we all need community. And I've been just so impressed with like this virtual, like how much you can get from digitally being connected to people who are going through the same thing. I mean, it's crazy. And so that's actually one of the most like surprising things about this, like how close you can feel to people that you've never met. That's
It,
it's
it is
amazing.
like okay, so how much trust did you have in this virtual model? Like, when other people get to hear about it, they go like, virtually, you guys really get to deliver anything, So like, now everything is so
Yeah.
seamless. I cannot, we have all those documentations. Now it's very easy for the new people to know what to do, right? But when we just started out, it was just you telling everybody, this is how you do this sheet is not working right. So you taught all of us. But
Yeah.
initially, did you have much belief in the system? Like how did it work out?
Yeah, I always did. I always knew. Because yeah, I always knew. I don't know why, but I knew that um, my prior experience was at a job, like in person, physically going into a job. I was so much more efficient, like when I was not in the office,
Oh,
because the office is like so distracting. And also like there's just, like, oh, you have to be there at 8:30. Like, why would I have to be there at 8:30 unless there's a sales call? Like, it does not matter. And by the way, it's like a 45-minute commute each way. And I'm really productive, by the way, from 2 to 4 p.m. So, and I should go running like this after, and I want to see my grandmother, like, because that makes me really happy. And then I'm going to be an amazing person on the call with my client.
mm,
So yeah, I kind of knew that like all the people who are saying, and they do all the time to me, they're like, oh, that's like great. You have like 150 people, but like you're capped. I mean, you'll never be able to build like a dev team, a data science team. Like there are like very serious stigmas against like this like kind of distributed team. People believe in extension teams. So it's like that you have like one team in like operating in
yeah,
Islamabad and they're all coming into the office. Like people get that, but like they don't necessarily get the future of work, which is like you're going to have people operating asynchronously in every single country.
definitely, yeah.
And like we're building that and we're gonna prove that. And I think it's so much more efficient. Like we'll be able to undercut like every consulting firm because of our efficiencies. So yeah, I actually have always believed in that. I'm not like, there's other things about the model that I really wanted to test and get feedback, but that's never been anything that I
It's
questioned.
actually very productive in a sense that, you have people working around the clock. It's not like that, there's somebody who's like, all the people are asleep at this moment. No, you have people working around the clock or and at their own convenience. It's not like did you ask them to do so. So it's actually working, I think, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like kind of a, yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of take a leap of
Yeah.
faith, um, because you're trusting people. But like, yeah, I mean, again, I think like all companies, if they're not going to build this, then again, like there are certain things that if you have people in the same room, you know, like I can imagine there would be efficiencies there, but we just get on the phone and we're on Zoom and we see them and it's as if they're there. And I think we're all imaginative enough to believe that like you're sitting next to me and we're having coffee together. Like there's that same, I don't feel anything different than like sitting next to Jake at my last company at us being in the same room. So that's why I believe that like this model is here to stay. Yeah, I just
Each
do.
one of us
I just do. And
each one of us has found numerous friends. I'm gonna be very honest. Pakistan has a very strong opinion against internet friends, but I swear I've found the most amazing people from here. And
that's
yeah,
amazing. That's
so like
amazing.
it's something that everybody
Yeah.
shares. Like Odetta shares this feeling, and we're very happy about it. So we are actually thankful to
Yeah,
you.
and all the different countries too,
Yeah.
right? It's like I've never been to, I really want to go to Turkey and I want to go to Egypt and I want to meet like our friends there now. So
So
yeah.
like this is like a very important question. Like how like when you go to clients, you have client meetings, and you share when like or you're trying to get a client on board and you're selling them this idea of women in tech, like a purely women oriented uh you have a purely women sales force, and like how do you face any hurdle in selling the idea and convincing the other person that it's as efficient as men?
I don't think so. I think that people are more intrigued and they feel like they're intrigued with the business model. It helps us differentiate. I think if we were like the same offering without that angle, um, yeah, we might not be having that conversation. So yeah, I think it's like only an advantage. Um, yeah, that said, there's certain things that, yeah, maybe about the model that we've set up that have just like made it better for clients. Because yeah, we operate in teams and we've done everything before and we do it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's like there isn't like this question. It's more our challenge now is actually just like getting in enough rooms and on enough calls to get people to start. And once they start, like they typically like don't leave. So or they may leave for a little while and then come back. So it's like we're really like more. It's not, we don't have to sell the women angle. Actually, many of our clients don't know the women
Oh,
angle.
oh, wow.
We've been kind of, yeah, and probably about half of them, maybe 25% don't
Oh,
know. because we just sell like the, you know, kind of data science on demand, or that we're the best list building company there is, or, you know, it's a labeling company. And so we might get presented by someone who knows about our mission, and then they put us into the running with other vendors, and then we just have to compete on you know, kind of like quality, and then we do, you know, do a test, and then our team is really good. So so yeah, so sometimes we lead with that and sometimes we don't, but it's never something I have to like defend against. If anything, like people, they know immediately that they're getting like a deal. You know,
I get it.
like that's like they're getting access to people who, you know, with like these masters and PhDs in these like really valuable subjects that are in shortage,
Yeah, they are.
and
Yeah.
they can't find people fast enough. In you know, most of our clients are in California, and they're just, people are yeah, there aren't enough. And so yeah, people kind of like get excited about
We
that.
can thank our HR team for that, for recruiting all of them. Are very,
They're
yeah,
amazing. Our H team
yeah.
is amazing.
So okay, so about why Odetta is named Odetta. Like why, you know, it's since Odetta is really valuable to you, and why did you name us Odessians, and like what was the source of all this?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's funny because we were named before the idea was there. So it was like this placeholder for me for this kind of project as I was trying to develop a new idea. And actually, the idea was very different when it started. When Odetta started, it was actually a different idea.
Can
And
we know about it?
I actually, yeah, we can. But I actually was listening to Odetta Holmes, the jazz musician and she just has really powerful music. And I really liked her name. And so when I was listening to this, it was like one Thursday night as I was working on this other idea. I then just did like a Wikipedia search and read about her. And she is this like incredible person who was part of the civil rights movement in the US, and just was like, you know, kind of inspired. She's just like this incredible musician. And so I found her name to be really beautiful and soulful. And then kind of like tested it and tried to figure out what it meant in like different countries. And then and the other idea that I was working on had to do with actually lending. It was kind of akin to my microcredit days. So also geared toward women. It was like a coding boot camp with
Okay,
loans,
okay.
etc. But yeah, but then yeah, as we first started, we got our first 25 or 50 people. I think it was like maybe a year ago. We did a rebranding and a naming exercise, and we wanted to make the name, you know, a little bit more related to kind of the people on the platform. And we did a vote, and everyone wanted Odetta. So then we doubled down, and I think it was the right call because I really like the name.
It's very catchy. It's actually, you know, I like playing with words. So it's like, oh data, you know, we are all about data, and it's like, oh data.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Odetta. And yeah, there's a great song by her that's it's called Hit or Miss, and
Hmm.
it's all about like being your authentic self, and that how much time we spend listening to people and their opinions, but like the yeah, the whole thing is like listening to yourself because you have the code inside of you already of like kind of your instruction manual. And so I like her. I like that
So,
song as well.
you know, you're this person who's being told about how to do this, how to do that. How did you find the strength to battle all of it? How did you, you know, become Catch and Wolf, who knows what to do?
I don't know what to do. I really, really don't. I feel like kind of my challenge is like I have to constantly stop asking for opinions and advice. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of this like little bird that's running around like asking people for their advice. And at some day, and like one day, I just kind of was like, enough. I have the answers. And I still, you know, it's like I still do that. I have like amazing advisors, etc. But I think like yeah, I don't I don't ever believe that I have the answers. So I think that it's just something I don't think I know. And I always think I'm like not the smartest person in the room. And so I think that's also why people kind of feel like maybe like empowered around me because I like give them I believe that everyone else has the answers. And so yeah, so but it just I think it's like it's a constant kind of like asking for feedback, but then also knowing when to just like make a decision. And Odetta has really been like something that's been guided by the gut. Like I just like guide my instinct. And it's kind of like the first time I've really done that because I've always kind of asked for all of this input and guidance, but no one knows how to build Odetta.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, none of these people have done this before. And they may have like certain inputs and they have them all written down, but yeah, we just go back to like, what is our promise? Why are we doing this? And then that informs our decisions. So I'm guided by our mission. Like I make all decisions based on our mission. And if I didn't have that, if it was like to guide by profitability or by revenue or, I think I would be very confused.
Have you ever thought about, adding men, and maybe men would add more advantage to the community or something like that?
Yeah, we have interviewed a lot of amazing men from all over the world, and I think that it is in the vision of Odetta that like one day this will be men and women working together, solving like the hardest technical challenges. For right now, we just really wanted to build this space for women to be able to be feel a sense of belonging. And I think it's like it's a space that's really lacking. Like we wouldn't make this decision unless like I feel like there wasn't another place where you could go where you could kind of like fully feel like your capacity to be like in STEM and to be kind of the future generation. And there's just a sense of sisterhood and belonging that we've built. And so that's just our mission. Our mission is that. And so yeah, one day I hope that we will all be kind of working together. And I don't know when that day is, but for now we're kind of following the codes of different countries where it's like there's certain it's a female oriented platform. We do have men who are advisors, and then we will have men helping to build the company, like doing sales and marketing, etc. It's more that like the talent platform is female only, not that the company is female
Okay.
only. Like especially in the U.S. we have people helping us that are of all genders. But we wanted to build the freelancer talent platform as this kind of female community. And then you could imagine that we would have a mixed community soon. And so we'll navigate that as we go. But it's really hard to start something. It's really hard to kind of like get it going. It's hard to build a culture. And so that was just a decision that we made to build some sense of belonging, and I felt that it was something that was needed, and yeah, at some point we'll open up.
So now that you have your own pack, your own pack of wolves, do you ever go telling your
Yeah.
brother, I have my own pack, I don't need you? Whenever they used to go like mere men and you're just alone, maybe.
Yeah, I think that they sense it. I mean, it's like it's like kind of like I have this sisterhood, right? And yeah, they're not allowed in. They're really proud. I mean, I think, one of my brothers he's one of our advisors, and he's been really, really helpful, and he's one of the people that I call every day about this. And yeah, he's just been amazing. Yeah, so they're incredible, and I think they're really happy that this is being built. And yeah, I do say that.
Well, I'm glad. I hope we don't let you down. You know, the pack always,
I don't
yeah,
think
the pack
so.
always sticks
The
together.
pack's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, okay. So, hmm. So, like, you said that you're like really, you've been emotional at times. And do you think that, your emotional self gets over the rational self at times? And, how does that work? How do you find the balance and then make this go forward? Because I think as a woman we tend to be emotional at times, and it's sometimes we have to find the right balance in our workplace especially. So
Yeah, I mean, emotion is amazing. It's such when you tap into it, it's such a asset. And being able to listen to your emotion and know how you feel and talk about your emotion. And so, it's like I'm very passionate. Like I would have never decided to build something that I was so passionate about if I wasn't this like kind of passionate, emotional person. I think it's like we just kind of all show up with our vulnerability and who we are authentically as people. And I think that, that's like what our virtual meeting is all about. And like, that's kind of like what we want, like to be our full selves in work, right? Where you don't have to have like your Katharine work ego. And then you have to like have like, like I can only dress in a certain way in this place. And then I have 95% of myself outside of work. So I don't know. So I think it's good to bring that to the office. That said, there's like, kind of like there's a line, and we protect that. It's so, if I'm very upset about something, it's like I try to not share that, and I'll pick up the phone, and often it's some sort of misunderstanding. And so yeah, so that's important. I think it's an asset, and then I think it needs to be guarded. There's like guardrails on it, basically, where especially for people that you haven't met, like one line that I write where it makes me feel better to write it, like, oh, that, blah, 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 it's kind of negative, that has a ricochet through people's days. And so I try really not to do that. And yeah, I think like it's, yeah. So that's what I want to say about that. I think like I'm just so aware that when you kind of have an opportunity each day in everything that you say and what you bring to the people that you're around to impact them, help them believe in themselves. Someone has an idea, and like if you're that person who's like, yes, that's amazing, go do it. Like that's what someone wants to
Yeah.
hear, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So I don't know. So I think an emotion, I think helps you do that. I think if you were rational all the time and you're just like always like logically analyzing things, like I don't know. You don't create like there's no like emotional momentum.
True.
So it's an asset.
Yeah. You've accepted so many ideas. I think we have a ratio of 87% of acceptance rate, and in the ideas that we get, the only ones that get rejected are because they're duplicates.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're data driven, and I'm glad we know those numbers. And yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think we just have like we've really good people who have really great ideas. I just got an amazing Slack notification from one of our members who had this Aisha who has this amazing idea for something in Slack. So yeah, so we have. I think also if you build a platform, everyone has really good ideas and they want to feel heard. And I do too. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So that's definitely a big part of
So
our culture.
what is this one thing that was new to you? You were accustomed maybe to working with American people, and then you started working with us. What was it like? What was that one thing that sounded really weird to you maybe, or it was new to you? Anything like that?
Yeah, no, it's funny. Like it's more like I'm just so surprised with how alike we all are, you know? And that it's more that, like, it's like I think I remember I had someone say to me, like, what do you have in common? Like, why are you doing this? Or what do you have in common? And I was like, I have everything in common. Like, I am, I am part of our team, and we're all the same people, kind of. And I don't know. So I guess like I have been just more. It has more been affirmed in me that like that there are like just we're once you have some sort of communication with someone like there, that's like we're like all the same people. And that it's just so surprising to me because it's like we're kind of like wired and we're driven and we all have these like kind of things going on and like we're talking about the same stuff and it's like we have like these we have these mothers that we're like battling with and we have like like these like conventions of society that we're all like figuring out and then we all want to like do amazing in our career, so it's like yeah, like we are the
We
same.
are.
So I don't have a better answer than that. There hasn't been something like just like shocking. And my whole experience in in Jordan and Islamabad, it was just like this like overwhelming sense of generosity and welcomingness, which like if you watched the news and you were like consuming media, like you would have like it's like a completely an insane dichotomy of like the truth and the reality of what's going on in all of these countries and like I mean there it is like a wide gap. So that's part of Odetta is like also to kind of minimize that. If we can be women in like 100 different countries and all getting along, and then like kind of seeing what's going on in like the news and media. That would be
So
amazing.
on a scale from 1 to 10, how scared were you when you were coming to Pakistan?
10.
So, so
Like
you had a
20.
fear of getting bombed in the other road that you turned to.
Yeah, I was scared. Like, so, I mean, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. So basically, like, the visa was really hard,
Okay.
because people are like, why? What are you doing? I wasn't like getting invited by like the, foreign service. I was like going as a civilian, to like what is considered like a dangerous country according to like the U.S. perception. And it took me 6 weeks to get a visa. And I had to kind of like in my interview at the consulate, I had to show that I was Facebook connected with a friend who lived in Pakistan. So I literally pulled out my Facebook and was like showing that we were tagged in the same picture. And they were like, okay. So I got approved and to go. And then, I remember landing and yeah, it was like, there were it just was it was so before I even went, I had a number of conversations with people. And if you talk to anyone who works at the IFC or some of these places, like they will just tell you not to go. And then I finally met people who were Americans who lived in Islamabad and were like, it's like living in Washington, D.C. Like you're driving to work, you're dropping the kid off, you're like, it's like all of the very basic things. So like I had certain people being like, what are you talking about? Why would you be scared? And then other people saying that I was going to be kidnapped on my third visit. So it was very confusing. But ultimately, I just believed in humanity and was like, I'm going to just go and I'm sure it'll be fine. And I'm going to definitely plan my trip and go again. And yeah, it's just like a reminder that that's like, media is very different from reality. And I think everyone should go visit Pakistan and all of these countries. It's like, obviously it's helpful to have someone who's your guide, who's from the country, who can tell you what's going on. And yeah, I think it's more dangerous walking around New York City. You're going to be hit by a taxi. The chances are more likely.
True. So we have this we have this the problem with the media and all. So the place that I live in Karachi. So Karachi is like very far away from Islamabad. So people in Islamabad still think that people in Karachi get gunned all the time. That's like there people are moving with guns maybe and they're getting bombed all the time. But I'm like, no, I just graduated and I never got snatched. So,
Yeah, well, that was funny because when I was in Islamabad, they were telling me like I was like planning a trip to Lahore and then to Karachi, and I was hearing the same thing, and I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, yeah, it's true. And I was there for the government overturned. It was in August 2017, something like that, and it was very peaceful. And I remember calling home, and my dad was crying because he was like had heard that had been the government had been overthrown in
well,
Pakistan. I was here during that week. And I was like, oh, it's like it's super peaceful. I'm like, it was very anyway. So that's been interesting. I think it's just like a testament to that's an opportunity. Like there's certain places where other people they won't go because of media, because CNN is telling them it's like so scary. But then yeah, if you can digitally connect all of these people, like what we're doing, it's like it's actually kind of like an amazing opportunity to do that, and then to highlight to the world that there's a gap in terms of like what people believe in the reality on the ground. And I think that's true kind of everywhere. Like, I mean, it's not like I want to go into like jump into like a war zone, but I think that like places are shown on media as a war zone, and they're not. And anyone who is in an environment, like let's say there's a fire near you, and you've had that experience where you've watched the news and like everyone is calling you because they think like the entire city's on fire. But it's just that there's like this one small fire at the
yeah.
end of the street, and it might be a big fire, but like all the cameras are on it and they make it seem like the whole city's on fire, that everything is so scary. But that's just not, it's not
Hmm.
true. So like we all kind of hear that, and yeah, hopefully media can do a better job of like, well, of kind of like the portrayals. I think that there's a big gap
Have you
there.
ever thought of yourself as a journalist?
I'm like yeah, I have. Yeah, I actually like that's like an alternative career that I think I would really like to do. Like, I think part of me wants to, I can like, I'm happy to build Odetta and build the company, but like, I just kind of want to like, um, travel and meet all of these amazing women and hear their stories and write their stories and put them all together and like share them. Like that's like what I really want to do each day.
So
So
I'm pretty sure the flexible work model will allow you to do that.
yeah, someday we're really focused. So I mean, we're kind of like just passing year one, and so we need to. There's a certain amount of client side demand that we need to hit. But once we hit that, then we're going to be like basically revenue is oxygen for a business to grow. And once we have that, we have a certain amount to go. The lead gen teams are doing amazing, and we have a certain threshold. And once we have that threshold, then we're going to start to be able to experiment and then I may be able to start traveling again. So
So
we'll
as a
see.
non-tech individual, how hard was your data science training? And I heard that you started learning data science. So how was that? How was that experience? Was it hard on a scale from 1 to 10?
Yeah, it's hard. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, so I kind of realized that there are certain things that I will leave it to the really smart Odettans to be like really good at like certain, I was doing all the matrix math and like I can do that, because I've studied it and I have a background in mathematics and statistics. So it's like I can do it, but I don't know how to code. And so, but I can learn. If that was a thing that I think that would, if by me being the best data scientist there is, and I could better sell the platform, that would definitely help us. But I think, it's like I learned it so I can understand how hard it is and where our team is in terms of skill set, and then be able to sell it. And so I have enough to be dangerous, and we're kind of like recruiting people with that background who can also sell it, to help me. So I have enough, and I think that my mission right now is to get more clients on board and more projects on board, both from like perspective of just like having work on the platform, basic work on the platform, to connecting work to like the skill sets, because a lot of our team are doing stuff that's like they could be doing much more
Yeah.
advanced work. So yeah, so I spend my days doing that, not studying data science. But I did do the Coursera and all of those courses, the online courses. They're really amazing. And if you sit down and do it, you can have like, I mean, enough to be dangerous experience, but then you really need to actually implement. You need to, I think, industry and what the clients want. There's certain expectations about how things need to be discussed and presented. And we're learning all that. But that, yeah, it's really fun. I mean, it's fun to
Would you
learn new
would you
things.
would you suggest our non-technical auditions to pursue this if they're interested?
Um, Yeah, definitely. I think it's like there's certain things that in the future, if you have this skill set, like I would go to every single like middle school in the world, and I would have them start to teach coding, like
Yeah.
I would. And I think that like it's just like it's a way of thinking. It's a very valuable skill set. Like imagine like as a non-technical person, like you're kind of like instructing. My role is like to kind of like guide the ship, right? And so I have to be out in front, like looking for the volcanoes, right? But actually to build like the ship and build the code and all of that, like you actually can invent it. And that is yeah, it's such a valuable thing. And like anyone who's been following the like what's going on with the machine learning and artificial intelligence, like our world is fundamentally going to change. I mean, the two big things that I think a lot about are AI and then climate change. Those are
True.
like the number two things that are going on right now. And so any work you can do to make AI and make the future better for all of us, and anything you could do to help save the planet, like those are the two things that I would say that we should all be spending our time on.
So one last question. I think because I think it was a 9 to 10 session. Yeah. So one last question is, when do we expect to see you in Shilwar again? Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
um,
we would love
well,
to have you around, meeting us, and then we can have like, you can go like Katharine on the tour, meeting all the Dashans around the world.
I know. I really want to go, and I haven't been. There's so many countries I haven't been to, and there's so many people I haven't met yet. And so, yeah, I would say within the next year, I will say that I'll do that. And but right now, yeah, I'm heads down out in Silicon Valley, convincing our amazing clients to send us work. And that's the like this. It's a place where I have to be right now, and then but where I want to be is with you. And so yeah, so in the
So
next year,
maybe you can send us
I'll
a
be there.
picture going and hoping to get this client so that we get really excited and we
Yeah.
pray for you because that's what we're good at.
Okay. Let's do
Let's
it.
do that. Okay. Thank
Thank you for doing this,
no, thank
Sajal.
you. Actually,
You're so good
thank you
at
for
this.
giving me this platform and this opportunity. I swear I used to sweat a lot and I used to have these shaky hands and but all through thanks to all the also meet the QC's monthly meetings and all those opportunities I've been able to do this. Thank you so much, Catherine. And this is a thank you from
It's
the
amazing.
entire
Do
Odetta team.
we
They're really thankful to you.
Thank you, Odettans. It's our family. And
Thank
thanks, Sajal.
you. We'll see you soon again.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye. Yep.
Thank you
Bye.
everybody for
See
listening to
you.
us. This was Catherine and we had an amazing talk with her. Hope you get to, listen to all the parts maybe that you might have skipped. And we'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.
See
See
you.
you.